Over the past 10 years, there have been more than 1,850 traumatic injury fatalities in Australian workplaces. Recently, Safe Work Australia brought out their latest data into work-related fatalities in our country. These are the jobs you really need to have a will and advanced care directive in place before you start. So what is the deadliest industry in Australia? Before we begin, we post death and dying related videos every Friday, so if that sounds like your kind of thing, consider subscribing to the channel. Now let's talk the deadliest jobs in Australia. Before we start, keep in mind this is an official government report on fatalities in 2022. We are only talking about fatalities that happened at work, not illnesses that may have been developed because of that work or non-fatal injuries, because we're a death channel. And these figures are going to ramp up significantly towards the end. So here goes. Coming in at number 11 is healthcare and social assistance. 2 deaths were reported in healthcare, an industry of 2.1 million workers. The report doesn't state how these 2 individuals died, but I know for damn sure one of them was stabbed to death by a patient, or it could have been the patient's family, but a knife was involved in their death. Most healthcare workers have strong memories of hearing about this one. And while 2 is a low number of fatalities, the number of non-fatal injuries in healthcare is extremely high. Coming in at number 10, accommodation and food services. 3 deaths occurred in accommodation and food services, with the report noting burns of some type contributed to all 3 of these deaths. Coming in at number 9, professional, scientific and technical services. This category includes a wide range of jobs, including scientific research, architecture and engineering, computer system design, legal and accounting services, advertising and market research, veterinary services, and professional photography. Again, 3 deaths were reported here, all linked to equipment failure or misuse of equipment. Electricity, gas, water, and waste services. 5 deaths here. No report on exactly what killed these 5 people though, but the jobs include electricity network installers and repairers, electricians, gas workers, water and wastewater treatment plant workers, and waste collection workers. Electrocution, burns, heavy machinery, explosions, and hazardous chemicals are all major risks. If I'm honest, I was surprised that there weren't more deaths in this category. Administrative and supportive work. Bet you didn't expect to see admin on the list, but 6 people died in 2022. That's because these services also include cleaners, security guards, office workers, and facilities maintenance personnel. Slips, falls, exposure to hazardous cleaning chemicals, assaults, and vehicle accidents were all associated with these deaths. Mining. 7 people died in the mining industry in 2022, which includes miners, equipment operators, and drillers. Risks include entrapment, vehicle incidents, explosions, and exposure to harmful substances. However, the report does have an asterisk next to that number, stating investigations are still underway into several deaths on mine sites around Australia, which have not been included in this figure. Manufacturing. It's not surprising to see manufacturing on this list, with 10 deaths in 2022. Jobs include machine operators, factory workers, and assembly line workers. The biggest risk in this industry is contact with moving machinery, being struck by objects, and exposure to chemicals or hazardous substances. Non-fatal injuries in this area are extremely high. Public administration and safety. This is a very watered down way of saying police officers, emergency service workers, firefighters, and security personnel. 11 people in this industry died in 2022. Over half these deaths were firefighters, with the rest being made up of a mix of the others. Vehicle accidents, assaults, exposure to hazardous situations and substances were leading causes of death in this industry. Coming in at number 3 is construction. A big leap in numbers here. 27 construction workers died in work-related accidents in 2022. Jobs include builders, labourers, electricians, roofers and plumbers, with the leading causes of death being falls, being struck by falling objects, electrocution, and coming into contact with moving machinery. As a side note, about 1/3 of this number were apprentices. Coming in at number 2, agriculture, forestry and fishing. Another big jump here, 44 people died in agriculture-related jobs. This industry comprises farmers, farm workers, forestry workers and fishers. Deadly risks include vehicle accidents, including tractors and quad bikes, contact with machinery, falls, and being struck by falling objects or animals. And because beef farms in Australia can now often be around 12,000 hectares, deaths from helicopter accidents, which they use to round up the cattle, are also quite common. Number 1, transport, postal and warehousing. And the deadliest industry in Australia by far is transport, postal and warehousing, with 67 deaths reported in 2022. These include truck drivers, delivery drivers, forklift operators and warehouse workers who are exposed to risks including accidents with other vehicles and pedestrians, fatigue and hazardous weather conditions. Numerous delivery drivers, including postal workers and food delivery workers, died due to assault, dog attacks and vehicle accidents. The majority of warehouse workers who died from accidents with machinery, and the truck drivers most often died from vehicle collisions. We rely on the majority of these industries to keep our society running smoothly. And while the data does also show a decline in workplace deaths over the years, we still have a long way to go. When I'm going on about having an advanced care directive in place and people say it would never happen to me, if you are in one of these industries, it very well could happen to you. So take the time to talk to your family about your wishes just in case. And with that, go talk death.